Hey guys, Peter Ewers here, and welcome to the Patrol Comp. So this is just a quick explanation of how the competition will run and hopefully answer a lot of the questions you have. So it's set up of three parts: a multiple choice quiz, that's 15 questions, the patrol setup, and a quick scenario. So I'm going to take you through each of the parts in more detail. Just a heads up, not sure of the order that this will run yet. Personally, I want to run the scenario first and just kind of tap the patrol captain on the shoulder and be like, hey, I'm going to run a scenario, and then and then set up a scenario without the rest of the patrol knowing, and then hopefully it will give us a really good indication, especially you guys as a patrol captain, in how your patrol is actually functioning. So that's how I want to run it, but we'll see how that goes. So this isn't in any order at the moment. But I'm going to start at the top and just work my way down. So the multiple choice quiz will be done as a group under the tent on an iPad. So I've got an iPad here and I've set up a program with a bank of 40 questions, and then it will randomly select 15 questions with a 20-minute time limit to do it in, and then that's your final score out of 15. The aim here is to encourage discussion amongst the group. But hopefully they've done a bit of training, and some of them they will already know before that. We are going to give you guys the bank of questions. So I've got the bank of 40 questions here, and with the correct answer. So that the aim of this is for you as a patrol captain to teach your team these, these pretty, I would say they're basic. Not a basic. These are the most important areas of the surf rescue manual that your team should know about. Stuff like what is the signal for a mass rescue and what action should you take. 3 blasts of the siren and all available qualified personnel should report to the patrol captain. So really, really basic stuff that you want to hope they know, but it's really just to fresh up and make sure they do know this stuff. So we are going to give you these questions with the answers. Please don't abuse that privilege, because this is just a trial year, and it will greatly depend on whether we give you guys the answers in the future on how this first year goes. Alright, cool, so that's the multiple choice questions, and a little note here that we're going to always make sure that enough people are watching the surf at all times. The second part is the patrol setup, which will be marked exactly as a branch assessor would mark it. And you can see the marking criteria on page 2. Just a heads up, you guys have all access to this document too. So this is the marking criteria: flags erect in position close to water's edge, IOB position close to water's edge, response ready, powercraft signs erected, lifesavers water's edge. So I'm not going to go through all these. If you want, you can pause the video and have a look at this, or you can have a look at the document yourself when you get it. Just do note there are different strengths and weaknesses, so some of them are worth more than others. For example, 10 points here to have lifesavers at water's edge, flag duty if people are in the water. Whereas 1 point here, procedure guidebooks immediately available. So not as important, should still be there. Really easy points to pick those up, but not as critical as obviously having people at water's edge. So you can go through that and see how we're going to mark this, and this is exactly what we're going to do. So literally we're just going to walk through and be like, are the binoculars immediately available? Yes or no, 5 points. Cool, so that is the patrol setup. Now the scenario will run for 10 minutes, and there's going to be 3 patients in there. One of those will require CPR with oxygen and defib. I'll just quickly run you through this. So the marking criteria for patients 1 and 2, this is the patients without that don't need CPR, is this is how we're going to mark it. So get to the patient quickly. There's 2 things here: response time and retrieval. So response out of 5 is how quickly does the patrol notice that someone is in trouble? Is it 3 minutes? Is someone up there with their hand for 3 minutes before someone notices, or is it within 15 seconds someone has noticed and is on their way to help out? So that's what this response is. That's out of 5, and then retrieval's out of 5, and it's completely dependent on the conditions. And I say this because it's if it's big surf, this isn't timed or anything. If it's big surf, it's just how well a person gets out through that big surf to get that patient. And if it's dead flat or smaller surf, it's how well they do that in that situation. So it's not really dependent on time in any way, and it will be completely dependent on how well they do in the situation they've got. When they get out there or get to the patient, it's really important they introduce themselves with their name and state that they're a lifesaver. So 5 points each for that, and I'll be asking the patient when they come back in whether they did that. Ask what happened and identify the injury, 5 points. Treating the patient is always going to be worth 40 points. So I'm just going to take a little pause here. And these are the injuries that you can get. So there's 7 possible injuries, and you won't get anything outside this. And on page 3 and 4, I've got the exact treatment for all those and exactly where we're going to allocate the points. So you'll have access to all this, so you can train your team, and you can really see, so you can see here, we've allocated different points to different areas. So you can see that, where we want to really stress the first aid in different situations. I will give you a little heads up so you don't get confused. One patient is going to have 2 injuries from this list here, this first list, and then the other patient is going to have 1 injury from this list. So just so you don't get confused, because you might add these up and go, hey, that's only 20 there, and that's only 20 there, and then go down to this third list and be like, what, there's 40 points there. So that's why that happens, because the 2 injuries are still going to be worth a total of 40 points. All right, reassure the patient. The best way to reassure a patient is just to talk to them and tell them what you're doing. So if you were going through this process here, you just talk to them and be like, okay, I'm just going to apply an ice pack now. After you've sat them down, obviously, just going to apply an ice pack. This is going to help you relieve the pain. And then when you're wrapping the bandage, just be like, this bandage is just going to restrict the blood flow a little bit and stop the swelling, which will make it better. So basically, just talking the patient through what you're doing is a really good way to reassure the patient up here. And check the patient's comfortable. You always want to make sure that patient's in the most comfortable position, and try and make them as happy as possible. Marking criteria for CPR is checking for a response, sending for help. So I've got 5 points for each here: ambulance, defib, and oxy. Check the patient's airways. Check for breathing. Compression quality. So this is positioning of the hand and timing. How fast or the correct timing of it. So you're not actually pushing in depth here, because it's going to be on a live patient. So you're not actually pushing in at all. Defib. So here I've got pads on before X minutes of CPR equals 5 points. So what I mean by this is we haven't come up with this X minutes, but let's just say, before 4 minutes into the scenario or 5 minutes into the scenario, you need to have the pads on to get these 5 points. And basically this is in here because I want you guys to get the defib pads on as quick as possible. And then the same with the oxygen. It's ready before X minutes. These 2 X's are different, so if the defib pads are ready on their patient before 3 minutes, then this might be something like 4 minutes 50 or something like that. Oxygen would definitely be longer because it takes a little bit more to set up the kit and get that ready. Cool, so that's that, and communication between team worth 10. All right, so I think that's all now. You guys, as I said, will get access to this document so you can see exactly where all the points are given and how we're going to get all the points. You'll get access to this here, which is all the questions. Again, not just to hand out to your team. We actually want you, to teach these guys this stuff and make sure they know it rather than just know the answer. I should give you a little heads up. Some of these incorrect answers changed a little bit too. So this is based off our test book, but as you can see, these are all pretty close. So I've just changed the incorrect answers slightly to resemble a better test. And another brilliant thing is if you search Newport Surf Life Saving Club into YouTube, then you can see we've done explainer videos on every single one of these injuries here. So if you search Newport Surf Life Saving, so when I say SLSC, so Newport SLSC into YouTube, then you can see explanation videos on every single one of these treatments and how we expect them to be treated to get the maximum points, and also on how to do this section here. Alright guys, thanks for listening, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me on Facebook or give me a call, or put my mobile number at the bottom of this here, so if anyone does have any questions, you can give me a call. Please train your guys up, and look forward to it. Thank you.